Hey folks, how's it going? Chris here from MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's time for another one of my collector talk videos where I sit in my little armchair here in the corner of the man cave and give a kind of vloggy ramble about being an adult collector. And once again, the sort of broad theme of this video is on the subject of being a toy tuber, giving you, my valued viewing community, a little insight into the behind the scenes stuff around the world of being a toy tube video content creator. Albeit a little one, And we're in that January lull. Again, this happened last year. I ain't got fuck all to make videos out of right now. Nothing. For, a channel where the bread and butter of the channel is doing reviews, adult collectible reviews, specifically action figures, mostly action figures. I was looking over my pre-order list. I ain't got nothing due to drop until like March at this moment in time. I had one figure on pre-order that was supposed to arrive around now, which was the Nacelle Star Trek Weyoun that I pre-ordered because I just wanted to take a look at them and just, get one just to see what they're like. And then there's been a whole, thing going on with that that's delayed it until the back end of February. The G.I. Joe Classified series stuff is currently marked for arrival here in the UK in March. That is unless one of the independent, retailers that imports gets them in sooner than that. But they're due to move back over to Hasbro Pulse as a supplier this year. So I suspect the arrival times of classified is going to kind of fall in line with the Hasbro Pulse delivery dates. Fuck knows when we're going to get Order of the Crimson Moon from Fresh Monkey Fiction. That could be any time. I thought they'd said some of the Soldier of Fortune stuff was ready to ship, but there's been no sign of that. So it's all a bit kind of bare and thin on the ground. I've got no Marvel Legends on pre-order right now. Although I'm recording this on the 8th, I might go for Colossus and Kitty Pryde. We'll see. Nonetheless, it leaves me in a kind of dirgy space where I haven't got a lot of content to put out. Certainly in January, and hopefully some news will at least drop so I can do some of my, my kind of news commentary stuff. I did plan out a couple of videos and wrote a few scripts for some things that I could do. I was aware that this was going to be the case. This has always sort of been a bit of a New Year issue for not just for this channel, but for the board gaming channel that I used to do as well. Things always go quiet in that kind of post-Christmas lull. But honestly, I've canned a couple of them. I've decided not to do them. I kind of got a little bit in my own head on one of them, which was talking about controversial G.I. Joe characters. As I started to talk and kind of actively reflect on some of the themes I was talking about when I was starting to record the vid, I was like, oh man, I could just imagine the comments. I'm going to get on this. That's not a space I want to go to. You know what I mean? I just didn't have the energy for it. One of my kind of look forwards into 2026, I've decided to postpone based on some kind of release information that I saw. And the overview of the figures that I didn't review in 2025, I was like, nah. What value does that have? Anyway, and a number of others, but I've canned a few, postponed a couple, and now I'm in a kind of like a little bit of a loose space as to what the hell I'm going to do. I even thought about trying to squeeze in a few live streams again, but what what would I talk about? I'd have to then build some quizzes or develop some content of a theme to discuss on the live stream so that it's kind of entertaining and engaging. And that was the problem with the live streams, was finding the time to sit down to do the prep around all the, the kind of exclusive dad's Ubering that I do and what have you. So it's a bit of a weird space to be in, really. I had to put some thought, kind of moving into the future of the channel kind of stuff that a lot of YouTube channels do around this time at the opening of the year. I had put some thought into like, well, do I try and diversify the content a little bit more? Do I go back to the kind of more expansive, games and collectibles space and start talking about maybe some more of the stuff in the trading card area or the comic book area, or the board gaming, tabletop gaming area that I collect stuff around and getting involved in? Or zoom in a bit, maybe on some ancillary kind of associated themes, G.I. Joe, talk about Sunbow cartoons or the new Skybound Entertainment comics. I don't know, one of the reasons I've not done that so much is for fear of, like, really fucking with the algorithm and negatively affecting the channel's success. And I'm at 2,600 subscribers right now, which for me I'm really, really proud of, really happy with. That's amazing. There's 2,600 of you who give a shit about what I've got to say. Is amazing. Across, I wonder how many countries around the world, how many living rooms I'm getting beamed into. I'm being snarky and catty there. I shouldn't really, should I? But so I don't know. I don't really know. I had thought about doing it if you go right back to the beginning, I mean, they're shaky videos recorded on the dodgiest webcam you've ever seen. But I did some stuff around like gimmick comic book covers in the early days. And I said to my man, Daryl, over on the Frontline Discord that I was thinking about revisiting the collection of gimmick comic book covers because, folks, I am still a massive sucker for a gimmick comic book cover, like Skybound variant covers for Void Rivals and the G.I. Joe title. I've just recently bought a great foil Wonder Woman. I can't help myself. I don't know. Just that 90s gimmick comic cover programming is obviously deeply embedded into my my collector brain. But on the flip side of that, not doing content because you're worried about the impacts that might have on your channel's algorithm or whatever, is not the right reason really not to do it. You want to make videos that you enjoy making. I love reviewing figures and trying to articulately talk about how good or not good they are. I love talking about the toy news and getting excited because I'm passionate about it. So why not talk about some things that I'm passionate about, especially that are kind of connected to that world of being an adult collector. And I know for fact that loads of you out there, you all worship at the broad church of nerdom like I do, and you've all got trading card collections, you've all got comic book collections, you all watch the same nerdy shit on the telly as I do. So maybe that is something to do through these quieter periods. But then on the flip side of that, come March, when I've got an ASAL Star Trek figure in hand and a full wave of G.I. Joe classified drops and and whatever else is in hand, and I'm again with the limited amount of time I have to invest in the making of the videos and the editing of the videos, do I then just stop, grind to a halt, or have I created a rod for my own back because there's another type of content that I'm trying to do on top of the core content? I honestly don't know. Like I said, it was going to be a random rambly vlog, didn't I? And that's what you're getting. I even kind of vaguely, I used to do a lot of podcasting in my board game content creating days, in my Dice Masters content creating days. I half thought about something podcasty, doing a bit of podcast, but I got to tell you what, when you talk about like editing and putting stuff together, a proper podcast, not like a video podcast, a vodcast on YouTube, but like a pre-recorded, edited, sound-treated audio podcast that's like kind of put out proper style for use on like your Apple Podcasts and stuff, is really time consuming, massively time consuming. It used to take me ages. It used to suck up a huge chunk of my Sunday getting an episode ready to go out on the Monday, And even if I put out there as a kind of dual thing, as a podcast that goes out on YouTube and an audio version, it would still require some quality editing and stuff, So anyway, what am I saying? I don't know. It is. I'm a bit aimless, I suppose, is what I'm saying. I'm a bit aimless. Do I finish the recording and editing of the controversial G.I. Joe's vid and just put it out there and come what may in terms of the debates it might ignite in my comments that I kind of don't really want it to? Do I just keep doing this and filling air and filling time with random vloggy things where I'm just talking to camera? I think that would get pretty tiresome pretty quick. Well, you tell me otherwise, but I think it would. Do I diversify on the understanding that I'll step back from the diversification when it comes down to getting a good batch of reviews done? I don't know. I'm aimless. I'm a bit lost, and so I'm kind of reaching out in a way. Certainly for the regulars around these parts who are always here and have stood with me from very early on. Well, not just from very early on. There's some like Cromulent, man. Jesus, smashing your way through that G.I. Joe playlist, brother. I appreciate it. I hope you obviously must be enjoying it. I hope so. If you're just smashing vid after vid, it's lovely. Just getting comments hitting my YouTube studio comments for a video I made 2 years ago. I'm like, woo! What's that? And interesting, great comments too. So not just folks who've been with me since early doors, new folks come along and become very active viewers that I really love engaging with, So And I suppose it's reached the point now where you guys have got a part to play in that narrative. You know, you've got a contribution to make around what you might like from me in terms of the channel. So, you know, let me know in the comments down below, or drop me a DM on Insta or something, you know. I know I've asked before, like, has anybody got any ideas for videos? And sometimes you give me ideas and I just never get around to them, and I realise that too. But if you got ideas that I can engage with quickly, I suppose, is the thing. Because, like, so I got Bobby Dubs, man. Bobby Dubs, I know you'll be watching. You've given me some fantastic video ideas in the past, but when I then sit down and kind of spec them out and start building a bit of a script around it, and I realise the type of editing that I might need to do around it, either it's, you know, it's time consuming, or I just don't have the type of editing skills to make it work to the way I'd want to make it work, you know. So I know I've asked for ideas before, and I am asking for ideas again, but if there's anything that you think I could make videos around that you'd find interesting and engaging, and you think fellow peers in the viewing community here would find interesting, then yeah, let me know. Just remember that I have a very finite amount of time that I can invest in the content creating right now, because my work and my family life's fucking mental presently. I mean, right now I'm recording this at, like, what is it, 10 o'clock at night? You know what I mean? So there you go. Quick, short, dirty vid there. Like some thoughts on being a toy tuber, quiet Januaries, and feeling a bit aimless about what to do with myself right now. And that aimlessness will probably disappear, you know, like I say, when pre-orders start rolling in around March, and we kind of come into the spring, and like the news around the lines that I follow more closely, you know, my favorite lines at the minute will uptick, and so I can make videos on that. You know, it might just be I've just got to grind it through January and February, but, you know, nonetheless, I want your input. Help me with this aimlessness, even if it is just a case of helping me put some stuff together to get through the rest of January and into February in this kind of quiet period. But thanks for listening. Anyway, I hope it wasn't too rambling. That was, like, really unstructured today. And, you know, please do come back for another video sometime soon, despite how rambling this one's been. All right, take it easy, folks. I'll catch you next time.